Opening possession of the game, Claxton came up short, and John, Texas back to work offensively.
Well, and when you think of this Texas team, we talk about the backcourt, how effective they have to be. We talk about Roach, we talk about Coleman, and those two guys can get it going in a hurry.
Coleman on cue from downtown from the corner, and UT out in front of Georgia on the road 3-0.
Texas will play man-to-man. They'll switch it up a few times, but here's what Tom Crean wants on the offensive end for Georgia. They've got to cut. They don't rely on a point guard out front in the pick-and-pop, pick-and-roll era. They want to cut, and they want movement on the offensive end.
Wilridge against Osikowski off the mark. Shot clock did not reset, and Claxton didn't need the extra time as he connects.
Claxton, one of the up-and-comers in the SEC. 2 games this season. He's led his team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, all 5 categories. Impressive. He'll be all over the floor.
Poked away. Turtle Jackson, who made the start today, comes out of there with it. This is a rematch of the same 2 teams that battled in the Sugar Bowl last month on the football side. As a foul inside goes against Nick Claxton, that'll be his first, team's first.
You don't really mention that much around here when you walk through the Athens downtown.
All right, so we're getting there. Just let me know when you want me to start calling it like we're going out, and I will. Yep, you got it.
Land Rover, above and beyond.
Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Fourth and goal. This is the final play.
Hold on. How were we sitting last week?
Oh, my God.
Come on. No, I was in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
I was in the middle.
Yeah, back over there. Okay.
Come on.
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
After months of wearing only a tiger costume, we're finally going on the trip I've been promising. Because with Expedia, I saved when I added a hotel to our flight. So even when she outgrows her costume, we'll never outgrow the memory of our adventure together.
Unlock savings when you add select hotels to your existing trip. Only when you book with Expedia.
Well, welcome back to Athens, Georgia. The SEC Big 12 Challenge, presented by Continental Tire. John Sunvold, Roy Philpott. Apologies to everyone for the technical difficulties that we were dealing with earlier. Those difficulties have been uncovered, and now we are ready to go. So, John, some of your best work I've ever heard.
Ever heard, yes,
just
sir.
moments ago. And by the way, we thank Chris Cotter and Dallin Cuff.
They were great.
Guys, checks in the mail. Just keep waiting for it. It's coming, we promise. Well, a jam-packed house here inside Stegman Coliseum. John Sunvold, Roy Philpott, and tell you what, Texas 7 for its first 10 from the field. Perfect from downtown, 4 for 4. The Longhorns playing pretty well.
You know, they're on the road in a terrific environment from Georgia, and Texas looks comfortable on the offensive end, right? They're handling all the switches. Guards are taking bigs. They're posting bigs on littles. They don't look like they're uncomfortable at all, and Georgia's got to change that. On the other end, Georgia passing, cutting, doing some things, but they look uneasy on some of the cuts. The passes are in areas they might look like they're open, but they're going into jams inside. And Texas has done a good job on both ends of the floor.
The Longhorns, as it stands right now, are in the NCAA tournament, according to ESPN bracketologist Joe Lunardi. Coleman III and Courtney Ramey making his third straight start, igniting UT early. But this is an important game for Texas. On that bubble, still at the end of January, a road win goes a long way against a team that is at 500 overall from the SEC. So we'll see if Texas can put it together after a series of close losses. Tyree Crump will try to complete the 4-point play.
Crump very comfortable shooting the basketball outside. He's hit a couple threes, had a chance there for a 4-point play. You know, we talk about Texas. We talk about their guard play, how valuable it is, and how do you match up with it. They're quick. They shoot it, and when you chase them, it allows offensive rebounding and avenues for offensive rebounding, much like that one right there.
Hepa, to your point, the easy bucket.
The guard play already has 16 points, the 3 guards for Texas.
Dogs have not led in this matchup. UT is led by as many as 8 points from the corner. And Turtle Jackson making the start today with a big bucket.
Jackson, outstanding shooter. Again, if he gets his feet set, Tom Crean doesn't really have a point guard. They don't run a lot of point guard stuff. They run motion. He wants cutters. He wants defenders chasing his cutters. And if they can find openings, they deliver the shots.
Hightower off the bounce.
Tough
High
shot.
arcing mid-range jumper.
Tough shot, good bucket for him. Guys now stepping up after that timeout and trying to get this sellout crowd involved.
And here they come. Dogs on an 8-2 run. Rhodes the pump fake and maybe one too many steps. Back to Georgia.
But the Longhorns will still like that matchup, right? If you're going to switch with a big on a guard, they'll take that matchup every time down the floor.
Bulldogs led by head coach Tom Crean, year number 1. Took Marquette to the Final Four. Also the former head man at Indiana in Bloomington. We talked to him earlier today. Many people know his mother Marjorie passed away about a week ago after dealing with a long-term illness. He was emotional speaking with us. He's going to fly up for her funeral tomorrow after this game tonight. And certainly our thoughts and prayers with Tom Crean and his family in a difficult time.
He showed his emotion to us, and he kind of talked about not wanting to show that emotion to his team.
And how about Crump and his emotion? A second opportunity for a 4-point play.
Tyree Crump has always been known as a shooter. When he's hot, you find him. He will continue to shoot it. Not terrific at being a point guard, but he's a catch and release kind of guy. We saw many streaks last year, and this afternoon, now that he's hit a few, I think if you're a teammate, you keep finding it.
Crump making just his second start of this season today, already with 9. And on 2 4-point play opportunities, he missed the free throw on both occasions.
And here is Crump, 85% free throw shooter, had 2 chances for 4-point plays. A rare feat, he missed them both.
Dogs get it back with Claxton inside, who has 2 early fouls. Hightower, top of the key, and it's all net. And a 3-point barrage early for the Dogs. Georgia out in front by 4. Back in 30 seconds after this.
With Expedia, I saved when I added a hotel to our flight. So even when she grows up, she'll never outgrow the memory of our adventure.
Unlock savings when you add select hotels to your existing trip. Only with Expedia.
An 11-0 run for the Dogs in the last minute and 8 seconds. Georgia by 4 and from downtown on fire.
Well, Tyree Crump at nearly 40% beyond the 3-point line. We've already talked about him being streaky. When he gets hot, stay with him. Now, Hightower has struggled the last few games, has really not shot the ball well. 6 of 13, 4 of 13 beyond the 3-point line last 3 games. But he's off to a good start this afternoon. He's in his home building. See if he can continue.
Dogs have made their last 8 field goals. Osikowski back to work. Texas trying to weather this early UGA storm. And Hightower and Jackson got crossed up. Back to the Horns.
Control, pace, understand where you are. It's good to go fast, but control yourself. Turnovers are a big part of this team for Georgia. They're last in the league in the SEC, turning it over nearly 17 times a game.
And for a team that struggles to score, turnovers detrimental.
Tom Crean talked to us about being more consistent on both ends of the floor. Shaka Smart, I came into practice last night and he said, I really need us more consistent on the defensive end. We need to get more stops at more opportune times. Lights out, partner, lights out.
Woo. Tyree Crump with the start and the hot hand.
And you might as well keep backing up against Crump. He's going to barely cross the half-court line to shoot it.
And Osikowski, a nice move by the Horns to go down low. He'll shoot 2.
Again, Texas likes every matchup they're getting when Georgia keeps switching some of the screens.
Monze and Ngumaze picks up the personal, his first, and some instruction from Tom Crean in the process. Ngumaze had 7 points in 4 minutes in a road loss at LSU on Wednesday. All those coming in the first half. Now the SEC Big 12 Challenge presented by Continental Tire continues tonight. Number 8 UK against number 9 KU, live from Rupp Arena, 6 o'clock Eastern on ESPN, also the ESPN app. And Bill Self has had Coach Cal's number. He's won 6 of the last 9. It should be a lot of fun. A little Ashton Hagans, Dedrick Lawson. Let's go.
Hagans has changed the way Kentucky plays. He's made them better defensively. Obviously, Dedrick Lawson for Kansas has been on fire and has started to carry that team.
How about the start in this one? Texas will show a little zone. Georgia at 9-9, Texas at 11-8. Baseline and a quick finish by Hightower.
All of a sudden, when you make 3-pointers, Roy, it makes defenders chase shooters out front. And if they're in a zone and they've got to chase shooters, it opens up lanes to drive. Good move by Hightower.
Roach, top of the key, the response.
Boy, this kid's tough. Loves the limelight, loves big moments.
Claxton with those 2 personals. The step back, controlled by Hayes, who just checked back in. Talk to me about Jackson Hayes, because a lot of people right now think he's headed to the NBA this summer. Has a lot of potential, John.
6'11", athletic, can run, finishes around the rim, shoots 76%. That's a high number. His upside is way up there. It may take a few years to get there. In the old days, we would be talking about it'd be fun to watch him develop in a Longhorn uniform. That might not happen.
Jackson Hayes grew about 10 inches in high school. Started playing basketball seriously late in his career. Heat check for Jackson, who connects again. Dogs by 5.
These threes are deep.
Roach on the other end will shoot 3. How about this three-point party early?
It is a barrage by Georgia. They were down early, but as they made their comeback to get this home crowd involved, Crump has lit them up.
After months of wearing only a Tiger costume, we're finally going on the trip I've been promising. Because with Expedia, I saved when I added a hotel to our flight. So even when she outgrows her costume, we'll never outgrow the memory of our adventure together.
Unlock savings when you add select hotels to your existing trip. Only when you book with Expedia.
This season marks nearly 85 years of SEC tradition. At Johnsonville, we respect heritage. We've been making premium sausage since 1945. We're heading back to SEC country to earn our fans. On every campus, at every tailgate, every big game, all the way to the championship. Get fired up for game day, made the Johnsonville way.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Continental Tire for what you do, and in part by Taco Bell's Nacho Fries, now serving near you.
Now the Horns celebrating a big Sugar Bowl victory as a 2-touchdown underdog just last month against these very same Georgia Bulldogs. And don't think for a moment that didn't go lost on Tom Crean. He talked about how big of a game this was today in the rematch.
Well, I think we should have some extra motivation tomorrow because we need to avenge the Sugar Bowl right now. I feel very responsible for that. I haven't asked anybody over in football, but I feel responsible for that. So we need the fans to feel the same way I do, right? Come in and Georgia needs some victory over Texas right now.
And John, I'll tell you this, I love the basketball coach in year one in the Deep South embracing the football culture. And that's part of this thing. And I think Tom Green realizes, hey, we've got to reignite this fan base on the hardwood side to do what we need to do here.
And he has brought in an exciting brand of basketball. This is a team a little slower pace the last few years under Mark Fox. That's how he coached. And he took the same players and he has gone more up-tempo, a positionless type of game, right? Every player does the same drills. He doesn't have bigs on one end and the guards on the other end. They all run the same drills. They all handle the ball. They all shoot threes. So he has brought an excitement here to Athens. The crowds have been great. He's been disappointed by some of the results, but that's not going to stop him in year one.
1 of 3 for Roach. Lead is 4. I still think somebody needs to put like one of those watches to count your total number of steps over the course of a given period of time on him during one of these games. I think he walks about 10.5 miles every single game.
Hey, the Tom Crean fitness app would be terrific, wouldn't it?
Sargunas checking in for the first time. Jackson, count it. And how about the Dogs? 8 of 11 from downtown.
They are continuing at a pace how they played at LSU. They just couldn't get close defensively against LSU. They shot 54% from the field. They were 47% beyond the 3. Couldn't guard the Tigers this past week.
And by the way, LSU, under head coach Will Wade, a pretty good team. They're back in the top 25.
You know what's amazing about if you penetrate, space yourself, one bounce, the defense is coming one way, go back against the grain, one bounce solid. Turtle Jackson off to a terrific start this afternoon.
Jackson getting the start. Tom Crean admitted to us about 3 hours before tip. He didn't know who his starting 5 would be. He was really set on finding a combination that worked today, and so far he's found it.
You know, Turtle Jackson hit 4 of 8 threes at Auburn. Since then, it's been a little quiet, but this afternoon, 3 of 5 from beyond the three-point strike.
Osikowski against Hammonds down low. The putback.
He's got such a solid post-up game. I love what Dallin said in the studio, kind of the old man moves, right?
Yes, we can both relate to that on some level.
You know, the great thing is he's patient on the block. That's the difference. He's not in a hurry, not in a rush.
Horns back in their zone. Jackson left open and a rare miss.
Throw it up to the rim.
Third opportunity for Hayes, who finally connects.
Not a good pass by Ramey. Good idea, but you want to put it, really spoon feed your big man right to the rim so he can put it down.
Back to a one-possession game. The Big 12 has dominated the SEC Big 12 Challenge so far with 3 wins to open up competition today. The step back is good. Ngumeze, his first basket. Big win for Iowa State at Ole Miss earlier. TCU handled Florida, and Baylor beat Alabama at home.
That Iowa State team is extremely talented. They lost a tough game to Kansas. I think a lot of people, they're the pick that could knock off Kansas as a Big 12 champion this year.
And this could be the year we see that in that conference.
Yeah, I'll wait till it happens. We say that different years, but wait till someone beats the Jayhawks.
Febres from downtown, that was the one player Tom Crean identified. He scares the heck out of us in this game because, well, he can go off at any point in time.
He had 23 in the win at Kansas State. Another team that's starting to play well, the Wildcats, tied at the top of the Big 12 now that they've got Dean Wade back.
Texas able to topple K-State.
And remember, Tom Crean wants cutters. He doesn't necessarily like just the screen and roll because they stand too much.
Sargunas stripped. 3 to shoot. Hightower and Claxton will check back in. Nicholas Claxton, the leading rebounder, one of the top shot blockers in the country with those 2 personal fouls. And a nice round of applause for Turtle Jackson, headed to the bench. Dogs will utilize a timeout as Tom Crean gathers the troops. And 4:29 to go here in our first half. The action fast and furious here in Athens. Dogs by 2.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%. And in part by New York Life. We know that life doesn't fit into any one plan, so start a plan that flexes with yours.
Gary, I am proud of you, my man. Making simple, smart cashback choices. With Quicksilver from Capital One, you're earning unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere. Like on that new laptop, Quicksilver keeps things simple, Gary. And smart, like you. And I like that.
I guess I am pretty smart.
Don't let that go to your head, Gary. What's in your wallet?
They need more space.
Is your mom in there?
Since Nana's moved in plan.
Nope.
Let us help with your plan.
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, that sounds like a plan.
Start a plan that flexes with yours. New York Life.
A Golden State Houston Rockets kind of game. 14 3-pointers made already.
Yeah, and both teams shooting 67% beyond the three-point line. I'm sure both coaches at halftime. Not going to talk a lot about the offensive end because they've both been good, but they're going to mention their defense a little bit. Can they shut each other down? Which one's going to get stops?
Now, speaking of the Dubs, Boogie, Steph, KD, Clay, and the Warriors in Boston to battle Kyrie and the Celtics. This week's NBA Saturday primetime game, star-studded in every sense of the phrase. Coverage starts with NBA Countdown at 8 Eastern. Game tipping at 8:30 on ABC and also on the ESPN app.
You just read those names. It sounded like the Western All-Star team. I mean, that's
what it is.
You had Boogie, and you're like, okay, who beats? Does an All-Star team beat those guys? Think about it. I mean, does an All-Star team beat that team?
I don't think so. And of course, Kevin Durant, one of the newer All-Stars with the Golden State organization, was a standout player for a year under former head coach Rick Barnes in Austin, and of course now a two-time NBA Finals MVP.
I got to see Kevin Durant play in college as a Longhorn when he went to Lawrence, Kansas, and put on a show. And I just shook my head and thought, I've never seen anything like it.
Going to be fun watching him in Los Angeles next year. Another story for another day, perhaps.
Or New York.
That was a second foul on Hayes on the other end as Roach is off the mark. A fresh 30.
Texas is a long team, active off their feet. When guys come in off the bench, they're long enough. Sims at 6'9", but he's active. Plays much bigger than that.
Lob for Sims, triple team, lost the handle. And a jump ball back to the Dogs. Good defense by Georgia.
Solid defense. Sims had to come down with that ball. Again, I'm going to put this on the guard. If you put it by the rim, one rim removed. What I mean by that, one rim to the left or to the right for your big guy. All they have to do is finish it. Then they don't have to bring it down.
You said Durant to New York? Is that what you're feeling right now?
You never know.
It'd be great if the Knicks were great again.
I think the NBA and New York would like that.
Inside Hightower, off the knee, back to UT.
I don't know if that fits his personality. Tough place to play.
I mean, if you give me Kevin Durant, LeBron James on one team in Los Angeles, I want to see what that looks like for 82 games. In New York, it's a bit of a steeper climb because the Knicks roster, I don't know.
You might be right.
Good win in Athens. Ramey making his third straight start with possession. And off the mark here, bothered by Claxton, one of the top shot blockers in the country.
Claxton had 2 fouls, and he played away from Ramey. Still got in the shot block line, but he stayed away from drawing his third.
Sims hit the deck and an offensive foul against Georgia. And Obede picks up his first. Georgia now in the bonus, Texas as well.
Courtney Ramey now starting his 3rd game in a row. Solid player. I got to see him play in high school when he was in St. Louis, 2-time state champion at Webster Groves. James Blossom was his coach, one of the great high school coaches in the state of Missouri.
Roach turns it over. There's something about the high school player that wins a couple of state titles. You bring that championship pedigree to the next level. I think it means something.
Yeah, well, you know how to win, right? You know what it's about. Coaches love winners. Most of the time, winners win every day when they go to practice. Not all of them, but most of them. Guys like winning. They like competing. Coaches love having those type of players.
Foul was on Febres. That's his first. Keyshawn Hightower, the sophomore. 68% at the line this year. He's got 7 already tonight. This capacity crowd. I'll watch him shoot one more. I tell you, just as we expected, a shootout has ensued after we were thinking maybe 61-60 earlier today in our production meeting.
Isn't that normal? Last season, Hightower averaged just over 3 points a ball game, was a solid freshman, and we love to see guys who develop. Tom Crean now counting on him to be more productive on both ends of the floor. Not as consistent yet as he will be.
Georgia by 3, 1 of 2 at the stripe for Hightower. Febres off the mark, rebounded by Obede.
Doesn't take Febres long to catch and release. Nice pass.
Hammond's bothered on the attempted dunk and a late whistle. Will put Wilridge at the line to shoot 2.
Terrific pass by Hightower. Have his head up, eyes up. And this Georgia team, unlike teams in the past, they will run and try to finish early.
Wilridge 80% at the line this year. The SEC Big 12 Challenge here in Athens, Georgia. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. A packed house on hand for this 6th annual SEC Big 12 Challenge brought to you by Continental Tire. John Sunvold, Roy Philpott. The tip of the cap to Chris Cotter and Dallin Cuff back in the studio for their nifty play-by-play and analyst work earlier in this half.
Great work. They didn't get a break to go get to refuel some food, so finally we gave them a break.
Holman, the sophomore point guard, making his 53rd start. Texas will use its motion offense.
Tom Crean told us today, can they stay in front of the ball handlers of Texas? The guy guarding the ball, can you just stay in front?
4 to shoot. Wow. And with 1 on the clock, the runner is good. True Long checking in with that basket shot.
True Long, another guy that can come off the bench and be productive in a hurry. Nice pass.
Obede went for 15 on the road at LSU on Wednesday night. Strong finish there. Osikowski started his career at Tulane. Back to the basket.
They'll take that every time, wouldn't you?
I think so.
Jump hook.
Point blank miss. Hightower on the other end. Gives it back to Osikowski.
Numbers.
4-on-1. Behind the back. With the finish. Nicely done by Febres.
True Long with a smile on his face after dropping that behind.
Well, if you're a fan of the Horns, you love that, right?
Yeah.
6-second differential between game and shot clock.
Got to get to Crump early.
And a scrum. Saved by Texas. Shot clock is off. Ramey puts it in.
They got to go.
Dogs got to hurry. And Hightower well short on the desperation heave. We end the first half where we began, tied. 46 apiece. And the three-point shooting has been phenomenal for both sides. 14 overall. That's the end of the first half. So we send you now for the college basketball halftime report. Chris Cotter, Dallin Cuff. ESPN Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy and our SEC Big 12 Challenge game, Texas and Georgia, brought to you by Continental Tire. The halftime dancing wasn't very good, tied at 46 to start our final 20 minutes, but the three-point shooting, John Sunvold, was outstanding for both sides. 14 combined shots made from bonus land.
Lights out from both squads, and you really expect it from a Texas team that shoots it pretty well most of the time. But Georgia kind of stepped up when we finally got on air, partner, and started making shots. And a wide variety of guys made shots. And so defensively, both coaches are probably scratching their head in their locker room. The other part is, though, Georgia has 12 turnovers.
Yeah.
Had 12 in that first half in their home building. Can't do it. I thought Texas scored more easily, even though it's an even game. They're on the road. They're going to have to keep putting pressure on this Georgia team because Georgia, I think, can get this momentum with the building on their side.
It's been a fun start, a packed house here in the Classic City, and we're really just getting started. The SEC Big 12 Challenge games to come. Number 1 Tennessee on display over on ESPN as West Virginia comes down to Knoxville. And then the big one tonight, number 9 KU on the road in Lexington at Rupp against number 8 Kentucky. Bill Self, John Calipari. It's going to be a lot of fun later tonight. And so far the Big 12 has been dominant. Wins by Iowa State, Baylor, and TCU to start things off at the noon hour earlier today. But every contest that is underway as we speak on ESPN and also ESPNU is closely contested, including this one. A lot of threes, some turnovers, and some drama yet to unfold between these two basketball programs.
So, Roy, what is the mindset of a player when you've lost 4 of your last 5 games? Because both of these teams have done that. Texas coming off a close loss on the road at TCU, 65-61. Georgia was on the road and lost on Wednesday. Great pass, easy finish, but lost on the road on Wednesday at LSU and played well offensively. Again, I get back to the mindset can young players handle the fact and get over the hump to try to win a game?
Ramey to Hayes on the opening possession of our second half. We are underway. Hammonds left open. Bounces that one in.
So we had the 3 ball in the first half. Now we've got 2 layups to start the second half.
Just as we expected.
Yep. If we would have been on, you would have heard all those things in the first 6 minutes of the broadcast.
Your best work ever in those 8 minutes.
You know, you always have a producer that wants you to lay out sometimes. They got the full layout for us, didn't they?
Wilridge steps in from downtown.
It does become contagious. That is his second 3 of the year. 2 for 12 now.
Ramey off the glass, the rebound by Claxton. Here come the Dogs. When it rains, it pours. It's doing a little bit of everything for Georgia on offense. Osikowski picks up the personal.
That's when the senior Wilridge looks over the coaching staff and says, hey, draw me up another one. Draw me up another one. I'm on fire.
What's amazing, when you make so many shots from downtown, the flow of the game and your overall feel is just so much more positive. Something as simple as making a couple of shots in a row from anywhere really can cure a lot of woes.
It's been a great pace to this game.
And Wilridge lost the handle. And the Dogs with 12 first half turnovers. Another one there.
Unforced error too. Simple handoff of a basketball.
Georgia was picked next to last in the SEC preseason poll. Texas picked 4th in the 10-team Big 12.
There are things you can get away with at home, probably more so than on the road. One would be turnovers. The other, maybe missed free throws. If you do it on the road, you're probably going to lose a game. You turn it over a lot on the road, probably lose a game. At home, it seems to be okay for a while.
Hammonds picks up the personal against Osikowski. Shaka Smart, year number 4 in Austin, took VCU to the Final Four. And I think he's still searching for the identity of this year's club. They've been so close. 3 losses on the road by a combined 9 points. He's got talent. He's got some veteran leadership. Waiting for the wins to follow suit. Crump. And a putback by Claxton. Yes, sir.
We were waiting for Nicholas Claxton to arrive and show up with the teammates. Wow, with authority. Hello.
John, the Dogs have been frustrated these last couple of weeks. Competitive at times. They've been blown out at times. Trying to figure out their brand under a first-year head coach. Nicholas Claxton's been one of the steady eddies with this program. His dad played here, was all-conference back in the early 90s. And he leads the SEC in blocks and rebounding, as he has most of the season.
Mismatch inside, but not sure why Hayes wanted to re-screen.
And a foul against Turtle Jackson is second.
You know, you talk about Shaka Smart, outstanding coach. Last year they had a team that got to the NCAA. Lost to Nevada in that first round, 87-83, and he is searching. He really told me last night, really the defense. Now, they've had more pressure in this game early. They put a lot of pressure to force some turnovers. Can they be consistent on the defensive end? That was his big question.
Osikowski thinking about it. Feeds Hayes down low.
Big to big.
Horns will fall back in their zone.
And remember when they went to the zone the first half? Crump went on fire.
Tyree Crump with 15.
That's what started him the first half. When he saw the zone, he just stepped further away, and he delivers right away in the second half.
Here's a turnover. Rayshawn Hammonds. Ran out of real estate.
Osikowski, what a play. Great hands.
Coleman traveled Well, he bounced around outside there for a couple of seconds. Nine turnovers for Texas. Dogs get it back. A 7-point lead.
You know, it is a mature Texas team, even though they got some young players, which everybody does. They only lost by 2 in Allen Fieldhouse. They don't get rattled that easily. Got enough guys that have been through the wars and can handle the pressure. Hightower got away with one. Looks like he turned it over.
Inside, Dogs give it right back.
Tough angle to make the pass.
Hayes inside.
Another bad pass.
How about Hammonds?
And another.
Hayes corrals.
Well, easy basket after 3. Not very good play. Both coaches shaking their heads.
Hayes now in double figures with 10, right at his season average. Lead is 5 for Georgia. Hammonds the elbow jumper.
A good spot for him to operate. Right over the top and a mismatch.
Hammonds with 10 and the Dogs by 7. Now the Stars are out in this SEC Big 12 Challenge.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%. And in part by Audi.
Hey, Kurt. Are you watching the best of Geico?
I sure am, Linda. Vote for your favorite Geico ad and enter for a chance to appear in an upcoming Geico commercial.
Neat. How do I enter?
Visit geico.com/bestof today.
The unmistakable Cadillac XT4. Once again, driving is joyful. Starting under $36,000.
Smart, year number 4. Coach Smart implored a little help last week. A home win against Oklahoma, 75-72. All right. A little Matthew McConaughey.
Look at that suit, and I mean, he played the character, didn't he? I mean, he had the guys up off the bench. Like
he was telling them,
get up,
let's make some noise. And how about a little Shaka Smart in the burnt orange? A little Photoshop is always pretty slick for Coach Smart. We got to talk to him afterwards.
You know, Coach Smart looks good in anything, and that'd be something. I'm not sure if he'd go with that, but it looks good.
It's interesting to have a super fan on the bench, but he's also a big-time donor to UT Athletics, and they're building a new arena there in Austin in the next couple of years. Matthew McConaughey's had it.
He was not only on the bench, he was in the huddles and timeouts.
The minister of culture is what we will call him.
Oh, that's good. That is good. You love the passion. Loves his horns.
Well, that's what makes college athletics so great. Most passionate fans of any sport.
Or at
any level, rather.
And as Slinging Sam said after beating Georgia in the bowl game, he said, we're back, right, for the Longhorns. Longhorn fans went crazy.
Tom Herman's doing a great job.
Yeah, he is.
He'll be preseason top 10 next year.
Tough shot.
Ramey connects.
He ball faked the shot, and then he took the shot. That's not easy. Calm. They like how he plays. I mean, they, meaning the coaching staff. He's got a lot of upside to him. He's got a lot of improvement to do, but he's an outstanding player.
Hammonds down low with a dozen. And a turnover. And another.
The degree of difficulty in the passing department is at a high level.
As a coach, that would drive you crazy.
Oh, my goodness. Just throw it to the guy who's open. Not that you think might be open.
Georgia right at its season average in terms of turnovers. Well, number 9, Kansas. Number 8, Kentucky. Live from Up Arena, the 6th annual SEC Big 12 Challenge, a Sonic blockbuster. It's tonight. It's at 6, and it's on ESPN. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Ashton Hagans, starting point guard for Big Blue, was a one-time Georgia commit.
Yes, he was. Shouldn't say that too loudly.
I know. And head coach Mark Fox was looking forward to building around him. That did not happen. And, hey, Mark Fox did a good job here, just didn't do quite enough.
Always on that bubble, right, the last 5 years. A win here, a win there, it'd still be here.
3-on-1. Hightower. And a chance for 3.
Push, speed, good hands on the defensive end, and now you're off to the races. And if you're Coleman back, really you either try to make a swipe but don't get body contact, and I'm not sure he really did. He looked at the officials and said, I wanted no part of any of that. Got him with a foul anyway.
4th personal on Matt Coleman, the sophomore out of Norfolk, Virginia.
I mean, I almost think he jumped around him not to have the contact.
Yeah.
And they still blow the whistle.
But I think that's been a big issue in Austin this year for Coleman, his consistency. You can depend on him for a play, then maybe not on the other end of the court at times. Largest lead now for Georgia, call it 9. And the Dogs in his zone, Claxton up top, he'll switch it out.
They continue to switch every time there's a screen, so you get mismatches. Longhorns aren't finding each mismatch each time. This guy doesn't really look for it. He just shoots it.
He'll shoot you back into a game. Febris, another shot from downtown. Texas now 8 of 14 from bonus land.
And you mentioned the first half. Tom Crean, that was the first name out of his mouth about Texas. He said Febris is a guy I worry about.
And he scares the heck out of us. Rejected by Hayes. That's why a lot of scouts think he's a lottery pick later this summer. The potential is there.
He is the top freshman shot blocker in the country. Top 10 amongst everybody.
6'11" size, 7'4" wingspan for Jackson Hayes. And Shaka Smart got a close look at him. He was the head coach at VCU back in the day when he was in 6th grade. Ramey left open.
Georgia lucky, lack of communication on that screen. Ramey wide open, missed a gimme for it.
Coaching 13 to play. Claxton off the cut, beautifully executed.
You don't mind defensively if you give up tough buckets, right? Guy makes a shot, hand in their face, but you can't give up just easy cuts and easy dunks.
Shaka Smart has seen enough. His team trails by 8. Nicholas Claxton, one of the top bigs in the SEC. John Sunvolt getting it done in so many different ways.
Ramey's going to try to guard Claxton on the cut, turns his back, doesn't go hard enough to try to knock it away. Easy finish. Bulldogs on a roll.
I'm a little bit country.
Oh, and I'm a little bit rock and roll.
I'm a little bit of Memphis and Nashville.
With a little bit of Motown in my soul. I don't know if it's good or bad.
But I know I love it so.
With a little bit of country, a little bit of rock and roll.
The all-new Chevy Silverado. It's a little bit country, and it's a little bit rock and roll.
Artificial intelligence helps us meet the needs of tomorrow, today.
By 2050, we need to produce 60% more food. So how do we feed the world without wrecking the planet? Using Microsoft AI, we make predictions about when to plant, when to irrigate, and when to harvest. Now we can reduce waste and produce more food.
Artificial intelligence helps us change the way we feed the world.
Chris, thank you very much here in Athens. The Big 12 with a 3-0 lead over the SEC. And Georgia trying to change that inside of Stegeman Coliseum. An 8-point advantage. 12:59 to go. And John Sunvold, Nicholas Claxton so active in this second half.
He's a guy that's hard to defend because of his movement all around the court. We've talked about him on the defensive end, blocking shots, blocking passes. He runs the floor well, so he will finish plays that other big guys aren't running with him. And he's got the ability to make hard cuts. He made a backdoor cut against a guard. Now, if I'm on the Texas side, Ramey, if you're a guard, you can't get backdoor cut by a big guy, at least on a bounce pass. They may throw it over your head, but they don't make a bounce pass. Those are the kind you pick off if you're at 6'2".
Claxton grew up playing in the backcourt and grew about 7 inches late in high school as Hayes the flush. So they're comfortable with Nicholas Claxton playing as a point forward at times.
So maybe is everybody just guarding the three-point line? Because this is now just a dunk show on both ends of the floor.
Now the game has kind of evolved in that manner. Finally some rim protection. Must have heard you, John. Hammonds inside with a bounce. 14 points for the leading scorer for the Dogs.
Good denial by Crump on the left side.
Hayes rejected by Claxton, his second block. He got 6'11" fading away from the hoop that time as Osikowski comes up with it. Important possession for the Longhorns. Only one win on the road this year. They're 1-3 away from Austin.
The guy who's been quiet has been Roach, especially second half.
Bayday the board. Hammonds the mid-range. Osikowski, that was nice.
Yeah, strong. Good play by Hammonds initially to try to make that and try to follow it, but Osikowski just strong with the basket.
Second foul on Hammonds. The Georgia lead at 8.
Operator, I'd like to make a collect call, please. First name Bob, last name is We Otta Baby Eats a Boy.
Hello?
Collect call for Mr. Bob. We Otta Baby Eats a Boy.
Sorry, wrong number.
Who's that, dear?
Bob, they had a baby. It's a boy.
If you like saving money, call Geico. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Last name is We Otta Baby Eats a Boy, 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Mother's doing fine.
Wildcat pride.
Hold up, let me get up in it now. I'm here to win it now.
But Kansas fears no cats. Lexington is ready for a battle of the Blue Bloods. Number 9 Kansas, number 8 Kentucky. Tonight at 6 on ESPN.
And Rump's going to be rocking later tonight for that 6 o'clock tip. And what a coaching matchup. How about Coach Cal versus Bill Self? Two of the best at their positions.
Well, you said it. 2 Hall of Famers going at each other. Self, a tremendous record in the Big 12, winning it as many times as they've won it in a row. Coach Cal redoing it every year. And Shaka Smart is here's what's interesting. When this is what you want. We're going to win this game. We're going to win this game. I always look, I didn't coach. I'm on the player side going, okay, which of these players says the same thing the coach just said, right? Which of those players on the floor turns to his teammates and go, we're going to win this game. The sideline is different than the people on the floor.
No doubt. And I think he's doing his best to try to preach positivity.
Yeah.
When they're facing adversity. Let's see if his team responds right here. Febres off the skip pass. In and out.
Like I mentioned, both teams have come in losers of 4 of their last 5. Which group can get over that hump and get a victory?
So far, it's Georgia. Yep. The hot shooting touch from downtown. 10 of 14 from 3.
If Bayday pulls from deep.
I was waiting.
I'm going to drop the head, set, and just walk off.
Pick and rolls, picked off.
Oh, what a bad pass.
UT gives it right back.
You get under the 10-minute mark, and both of these teams understand, because they're both in great conferences, possessions are important.
But triggered by Crump.
You can't just give a possession away.
Osikowski can't finish.
Wow.
Well, the idea was there, the execution, not quite.
Yeah.
And this is the guy right here, Erwin Roach. He's got 9 points. He's got to get something going.
And very quiet, has not been aggressive with the ball.
Off the crossover, the pump fake. Pretty move in traffic.
Peekaboo. Woo! Guards love when big dudes are on them.
You felt like it was going to go through 12 in burnt orange on that possession.
Let's see if he stays with it.
And a foul inside as Ogbede attacks.
Erwin Roach in his senior season. Little trick or treat. Big guy on him. You can dance with him, make the big guy move his feet. We'll see if that gets Roach going.
Oh, I like the dance reference. That was the third foul on Jackson Hayes, so that's a developing story. Rayshawn Hammond's also with 3. And he'll trigger.
Let's see, they'll go zone from the underneath out of bounds. Just see if they stay in it because of the foul problem.
Wilridge found a crease. Turned over. Ramey. It'll stay with UT. So the lead is 6, less than 10 to play. Now 20 turnovers for the Georgia Bulldogs in this game. It's been an issue all season long. It continues to be in this one.
And I would guess that 8 of those turnovers were probably caused by Texas. The rest of them have just been just a sloppy pass.
Osikowski, baseline, will shoot 2.
That is a big body when he puts it on the floor and comes in. Not one Georgia player slid over to take a charge. I mean, that's a dude that's going to maybe run you over. You might want to take one bump once. He looks like he'll test you.
6'9", 255, I think so.
How much of this do you want? And I'll give one foul if you'll take it.
Sports Center headed your way tonight after X Games Aspen. Make sure you join John Anderson, Steve Levy. They'll break down Golden State and Boston, plus all the highlights from number 9 KU, number 8 UK in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. You'll also hear from Tom Brady with the latest, the Pats and Rams. Sports Center headed your way midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific on ESPN.
I was at the game at Arrowhead. Yeah, I'm a Chiefs fan.
I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. Man, you were close.
Tough week. But I was so impressed. I mean, watching Brady and the boys go to work was amazing.
One possession game. If Roach can finish, he cannot. Here come the Dogs.
Missed opportunity on the road.
The bigger issue was in the Saints-Rams contest down there in New Orleans. Boy, you feel so bad for those Saints fans. It'll stay with Georgia, 12 to shoot.
You suppose the Saints fans would have taken over Atlanta? That was on.
Rough stuff. It's the 9 to play here in Athens. Ogbede down low. Spins that one in.
Hard worker. Maximum effort most every game.
He's got 8. Lead is back to 6. Hammonds with those 3 personals. Got to be careful. Osikowski. Top rebounder in the Big 12. That's why.
And Hammonds got his arm stuck in there, and he is hurt. Ooh.
And that is not a good sign, obviously, for UGA.
He's left-handed. He had his left arm stuck, trying to pry the ball away, and Big Dylan, it's hard to pry it away from him. Watch him try to get this ball. His left arm will go in right there.
That hurts. Hammond's the leading scorer.
Well, you hope it didn't hyperextend anywhere in the elbow area. shoulder. I mean, that
Grabbed the left shoulder immediately after that sequence, and Tom Crean will walk over and check him out. Now he's from right up the street, Norcross, Georgia, just a sophomore. Johnny's got 14 and 9 in this game already.
Leading scorer for this Dogs team on the season. Has had a couple games where he doesn't score, which is highly unusual for the leading scorer of a team. Has had some big games and big moments so far this season. Only a sophomore, continues to get better. Let's hope he's okay.
So out of the timeout, Texas and Georgia back to work. UT a golden opportunity here on the road, trailing by just 4. It feels like it could be worse. Georgia hasn't been able to put the Longhorns away thus far.
And it feels like Texas is getting good matchups on their offensive end. They've not converted, but they're getting the matchups they want. They need to convert some of those, because if you don't, then a home team like Georgia can lengthen this out to 10 or 12 points.
Packed house here at Stegman Coliseum. The SEC Big 12 Challenge presented by Continental Tire. We've had a lot of fun in this one so far. More than 8 to play. Jackson double team. And here's a steal. Roach. Febres.
You know, Roach just jumped up, left his feet, and made a pass. He didn't have the pass. Ooh.
Shaka Smart dials up the full court pressure. It results in a turnover.
And it bothered the Bulldogs in the first half also.
Yeah, it did. Roach, the runner. And claimed by Georgia. That's Keyshawn Hightower. Claxton.
A terrific screen set by Obede, not on Claxton's defender, but on Jackson Hayes, who couldn't get there to make the play defensively. Almost like a moving pick.
Offensive foul. Dogs will get it back after this. Stars shining brightly in the SEC.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Continental Tire, for what you do, and in part by McDonald's.
It's true. Humans would do anything for avocados from Mexico. No judgment. It was the 80s.
Avocados from Mexico.
There's nothing quite as magical as staying at a Disney Resort hotel. So imagine complimentary rides to and from the park, even extra time with your family in the park. And now you can save up to 30% on rooms at select Walt Disney World Resort hotels. So if you're not staying here, just think what you might be missing.
Number 1, Tennessee and West Virginia will get things started coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern over on ESPN. Dogs lead by 6 here. And John, I'll ask you this. Are you buying Tennessee as the number 1 team in the country right now?
Yeah, I'm buying. I'm buying. I've been buying for a couple years on Tennessee. They're very good. Since you've asked, are they the best? They're one of the best. Give me Tennessee, Virginia, Michigan, Gonzaga, Michigan State, Duke, and the teams. Kentucky is climbing up there. Kansas is there. I don't think this is a great Kansas team. Azubuike out, but yeah, Tennessee is legit. Veteran team, total leadership team. when you have a team where a coach doesn't always have to coach you and be on you and direct you, then you got a good squad, and that's what Tennessee is.
Fourth foul on Jackson Hayes. Rayshawn Hammonds appears to be okay, so that's good news for Dog fans. We'll see if Shaka Smart leaves Hayes on the floor. 7:24 remaining.
It's a lot of time. A lot of time on the clock to leave a guy with 4 on. I would probably take him out to the 4-minute mark.
Peppa getting set to check back in for UT. And Hayes will go out. I mean, the job Rick Barnes has done in Knoxville, tremendous. And that team has just grown up right before our eyes with Admiral Schofield and Grant Williams. Williams may be the SEC Player of the Year back-to-back seasons.
Yeah, that's amazing, and he would deserve it. He's a terrific player. Rick Barnes really did the same kind of things at Texas with non-superstar players, build a team. Then all of a sudden you kind of get the one-and-dones that come through, which really change your program a bit. But this Tennessee is outstanding.
Roach left open and a chance for 3. And let's see if that sparks this Texas team.
Well, the weak side defense. Off the dribble, the penetration. Nobody. And this is a guard coming down the lane. Most big guys are kind of licking their chops, right? I'm going to make a block. I'm going to make a play. Even Roach was surprised. He turned the corner, eyes lit up and go, there's nobody home.
Fourth on Hammonds, by the way.
Nobody's guarding the nest.
Costly miss for the Horns. Lead is 5. Here comes more full court pressure. Hammonds remains on the floor. Crump left open from the wing. And you know that's going down.
It took a while to find him. He was there waving and waving and waving. And the crowd behind us was saying, Crump's open. He got it.
And he's got 18. Under 7 to play. Roach! The response. What a great job using the rim for protection there, John.
We asked if Roach would arrive and start attacking, and he has. Third bucket in the last 5 minutes in the paint. Last one he dunked, this one to the rim, the bump, the easy finish. And look at the trap, and everybody behind me is yelling, find Crump. Delivers again. What an outstanding afternoon for Tyree Crump.
Roach with 15. He's just 1 of 4 at the line.
71% free throw shooter. Rare that you would be 1 for 4.
And he used every inch of the rim, right?
A lot of it. A lot of paint.
Full court pressure has changed the tone here the last couple of minutes for Texas.
Always wanting, when you catch a ball against any pressure or a zone defense, comes in on one side, turn and face, probably out the other side.
It's not rocket science, it's basketball, right?
That's right. It can be complicated if you make it complicated.
Hightower was open for a moment. The feed, Claxton!
What did Tom Crean tell us? He wanted more Claxton, more movement, more cutting, put pressure on him. And because of his ability and his quickness and how quickly he can get off his feet and finish, nice cut.
Short for Roach. Willridge the rebound.
And don't you love it when a 6'11" player, he says, calm down, I'll bring it up the floor. Very valuable.
Claxton 9 of his 11 points. Coming in the second half, making 12 from downtown. Well, you think this one doesn't mean a lot?
Thank you, Nicholas Claxton. We talk a lot about this guy at the start. Often in the game, he's been valuable. His movement, his ability to do everything on the floor, bring it up, block shots, assists, rebounds, and if he can face up and the big man stays off and he can deliver threes, boy, what value. He is just under 30% as a three-point shooter. There's confidence in your home building.
Well, the SEC needs this one. Swept with the noon starts earlier today. Iowa State on the road. Baylor beat Bama at home. TCU over Florida in Fort Worth. And now Georgia trying to lead the charge for the Southeastern Conference.
Anytime you have these matchups, I always look who can get a road win. Iowa State did that. They went on the road to get a win. The rest of these scores so far that I've seen, the home teams are all winning. It is tough to go on the road.
Texas A&M has upset Kansas State to notch the first victory for the SEC in this SEC Big 12 Challenge.
I had A&M on Tuesday at Florida. They were outstanding after a disastrous game at home against Missouri last Saturday. So they have responded to Billy Kennedy.
Well, don't forget about the big one. Later tonight, the Sonic Blockbuster. Number 9 Kansas, number 8 Kentucky live from Rupp, 6 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Also the ESPN app. The SEC Big 12 Challenge presented by Continental Tire. Little Ashton Hagans, Dietrich Lawson. It's going to be a ton of fun. And Rupp will be rocking tonight.
You know, Devon Dotson is an outstanding freshman guard at Kansas who's going to match up against Hagans. Hagans is a great defender. I think he's totally changed what Kentucky is so far this season. Dotson's very good with the ball. Not many better coast to coast. Terrific matchup.
Every coach I've spoken with in the SEC in the last 3 weeks all points to Hagans for that recent improvement for Big Blue. They're back in the top 10 and threatening in the league. Hayes out of the timeout.
That looks fun, doesn't it? To just be able to jump up and throw it downward, look down the rim.
You and I don't know anything about that.
Only off a trampoline when we were kids.
Nearly a 5-second violation. Jackson was stripped. Back to Texas. Don Daly, our lead official today, with the call right there.
That was an interesting call, wasn't it? I mean, he's right there, but this ball, one guy's going one way, one going the other way. I don't know. Just a surprise. Probably wouldn't agree with it.
An important possession for the Horns, trailing by 8.
Roach has been the guy, whether by pass or by just shooting or attacking off the dribble.
Coleman back on the floor. Osakowski to put back.
I think it was Ramey who went down the lane. Numbers
3 on 2. Jackson somehow converts over Hayes.
You know what? Turtle Jackson's thinking, I can put pressure on Hayes. He's got 4 personal fouls. Didn't get the contact. Tough bucket.
Osakowski feeling it. Not that time. That's a big exchange right there. Georgia getting the bucket and Texas coming up short.
And Texas will continue to put pressure on this Bulldog team. They've not been handling the basketball cleanly.
Back to UT. Claxton gives it up.
I think we're at 25 turnovers on the afternoon. That's the most all season. Good finish here. And this is where I think he's just trying to get contact, right? You're thinking, okay, I'll just go get a foul. Instead, he made a highly difficult shot.
Turtle Jackson got the start. He's paid dividends, along with Tyree Crump in the Dogs' backcourt. Tom Crean mixing things up with his starting 5, trying to find something that works. Hayes against Claxton. Outside to Coleman. In and out.
Got tired bodies on the floor. If you're an offensive player, I think you're at an advantage when guys are tired. Make hard cuts. They raise up a little bit off their knees. You can backdoor cut, get some buckets.
If this score holds, the SEC Big 12 Challenge will be 3-2 in favor of the Big 12. South Carolina and Oklahoma State going on over on ESPNU. And a foul as Claxton was attacking. 3:33 to go here in Athens. Dogs lead it by 8.
Nova. Above and beyond.
No, no, no. It's supposed to sound like this. Avocados from Mexico. Now you gotta hit those high notes. Do it again, only better this time. Schnauzer. Much better.
Avocados from Mexico.
Again, commit to the G is what they like to say here in the Classic City. And the Dogs with an 8-point advantage. 3:33 to go in a very busy afternoon of hoops. Coming up next, we'll send you out to Norman, Oklahoma.
Here with Sooners, Christian James. Christian, okay, most prized possession you own?
I would probably say my Final Four ring.
All right, thing you like best about this team?
Scrappy.
When I say Jamal Bieniemy, you think?
Star.
All right, that's a quick get-to-know Christian James and a little bit more about the Sooners. They're coming up next against Vanderbilt. Let's send it back out to Roy and John. Guys, I got to shower, get my suit on. I got to get ready.
Pardon me, don't have to shave. Just remember that. You're looking good right there. Put the suit on. You'll be ready to go. Yeah.
He looks clean.
I think he'll be just fine. Well,
Should
Vanderbilt, John, nearly pulled off the upset against the nation's #1 team this past Wednesday night in Tennessee. So let's see.
And maybe should have pulled off the upset.
Took it to overtime.
They had that ball game, and they didn't wrap it up. But Oklahoma, tough place to play. Norman, very difficult. Von Kruger, another outstanding team.
Couple of important free throws for Claxton.
Both teams in a 1-on-1 situation.
Vanderbilt still reeling, losing Darius Garland for the season, the 5-star point guard. But
had to change the entire offensive sets that they run, offensive schemes that they run, and more importantly, the defensive side.
Lead is 10. Crowd back in it.
What's worked for Texas? They're only 2 of 10 by the three-point line in the second half. But it's been Roach off the dribble that I think they should find again.
Horns need a bucket here.
Good defense. How about Claxton, 6'11"?
He's telling Roach to come on, bring it. Outstanding defense.
That's amazing.
We'll stay with Georgia. Outstanding effort.
Claxton has to be careful. If they can get him for a tee because he's in the face, he keeps wolfing and barking. So you got to be careful.
Send you back to the studio and Chris Connor. Chris.
Wow. Holy smokes.
Game of the afternoon with PNC Arena in Raleigh, and a devastating loss for Clemson after a great performance by Marquise Reed. Wolfpack keep rolling in the top 25, deservedly so.
And what a shot, what a wide open shot. And on our end, good bucket by Georgia. They're going to keep attacking Jackson Hayes, who's got 4 fouls. He stayed away from it. Now the largest lead of the afternoon.
Ramey from downtown. Lead is back to 10, less than 2 to play.
Smart play by Turtle Jackson. Bring it out, run clock.
You surprised by what we've seen in this game with Georgia doing what they've done on both ends of the floor, and primarily they made 12 threes.
Well, if you do what they've done on the offensive end, shooting the basketball, they are 12 of 17 from the three-point line, 71%. You're going to win games, right? You're going to win games if you shoot the ball well. This is a team Georgia that went on the road on Wednesday night, and you had them. They shot the ball well at LSU. They just didn't play enough defense. I think I'm surprised maybe the tempo of both teams have been good offensively. Too many turnovers by both squads. Too many sloppy passes by both squads. Texas has been active defensively. They have 16 steals, which is a season high. But neither team has been able to stop the other.
Oklahoma State just defeated South Carolina by 4.
That's a terrific win. At home again, though. I'm always curious, in any of these matchups, can a road team win? And the only one so far has been Iowa State at Ole Miss.
Hightower the free throw. Back to a 12-point advantage. This crowd's been great today.
Outstanding. Georgia's got to stay in front of guys, hand in the face, don't get beat off the dribble. Same spot. He's made 3 of them now from the exact same spot. Ramey.
Lead is 9. Texas hanging around, 93 seconds to go.
Sure is nice to have a 6'11" guy on the offensive end against the pressure that can throw over the top of people.
What a weapon, what a luxury.
Really is. He's been outstanding this season. He has advanced so far from a year ago to this year. We're talking about Claxton. Just in all the things he can do. We saw the growth last season through SEC play. But again, a different style of offense, how they did things under Mark Fox. Tom Crean came in, and again, I'm going to call it positionless players. Everybody plays, you're not labeled. You're not a 1 guy, you're not a 5 guy. When you've got a guy like Nicholas Claxton, Claxton can do it all. There's the value of him seeing over the pressure to handle it easily.
Hogs 10 of 11 from the stripe in this second half. Road will not be any easier for Texas. They'll get Kansas in Austin on Tuesday. Road trip to Ames against the nationally ranked Cyclones after that.
I like their chances against Kansas. It'll be tough because we know how Kansas is. I like Texas in that game. Traveling to Ames, though, if you're a player, you know they're beatable because Kansas State got to win at Ames.
Off the mark for Ramey. And Georgia can sense this is a W right now as we check in again with Chris Connor. Good stuff, my friend. Oklahoma off and running with a 4-point lead against Vandy. Exciting afternoon of college hoops. The Sonic Blockbuster tonight, 6 o'clock. Kentucky and Kansas from Lexington. Going to be a lot of fun, and we'll see which league can prove victorious. Interesting to note, too, John, we found out earlier this morning, SEC and Big 12 have extended this challenge for another 6 years.
I think great for players, great for coaches. I think they like it, and I think great for fans.
Dogs have struggled offensively this season. That has not been the case today. 95 and counting already on the scoreboard. And Hightower gives it back. And they've turned it over 24 times and still have put up 95 points. That's impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive. Tom Crean's just trying to get his guys to calm down when they have the ball. It's not a hot potato, right? You don't have to race with it. Just take care of it.
Ramey again from behind the arc.
Ramey has really shown his ability to shoot the basketball.
We mentioned it earlier, an emotional week for Tom Crean. He talked with us earlier today about the passing of his mother, Marjorie. Battled a long-term illness. Passed away about a week ago at the age of 80. And Johnny's going to fly up for her funeral right after this game tonight. He broke down for a few seconds talking with our production crew this morning. So this win today means a lot more to Coach Crean in his first season in Athens.
Well, all thoughts and prayers to Tom Crean and his family. We saw the emotion on his face, which is understandable. He told us that he wanted to keep his players as positive through this journey of this first season as he possibly could. Nobody likes to lose. Coaches don't, players don't. And then something happens personally, and he's got to try to keep that from the players. But he had his team ready today. They played terrific. They've been on an emotional high, and then he will leave and head home.
Well, a big afternoon for Nicholas Claxton, 16 points, 7 rebounds. And we go back to that original dunk on the putback. It really ignited this crowd, and it feels like it ignited this team on the court.
It's at a time when they needed something. Georgia was playing okay, Texas making a run. And Big Nicholas took over on both ends of the floor. Remember this three, and then remember the defense of possession against Kerwin Roach. Roach couldn't shake him. Roach made a turnover. Claxton, almost the emotional leader for this Bulldog squad.
Now this was a critical game for the Longhorns. On the road against a quality opponent. Joe Lunardi, our ESPN bracketologist at UT on the bubble, but in the field prior to this game. Febres' step back. They'll go anywhere just yet. They'll trim the lead to 7 and a timeout with 40 seconds left.
30-second timeout.
A lot of teachable moments from this game, especially with the turnovers.
Well, you almost, again, I'm sitting there, I just shake my head. Okay, so you didn't catch it. Let's run. First thing, you catch it. The second thing is you don't save it under the basket of your opponent to the opponent that can knock in a three. I mean, there's teachable moments. But at some point, a coach, you look at your guys and go, if I wasn't here, if I wasn't coaching, how would you handle the end of this game, right? As a group of 5 guys, what would you do? Who would you get it to? Who's the best free throw shooter? How would you get it to him? And I would think there'd be an answer from each guy. But if you rely on the coach to tell you everything to do, you kind of do what they're doing. They throw it and chuck it and heave it.
Well, I'm thinking if you ask all 5 guys that question, they probably give you 5 different answers based off what we've seen today.
Well, you'd hope not, and because here's why. If you play a pickup game in a playground or anywhere, and you keep the court, if you win the game, most players know how to do it. They get to the right guy at the right time to win the bucket.
Right.
We want to keep the court. No one wants to sit out. Now they're handling it well, and all game's going to be over.
Claxton tied up, but a foul put Nicholas Claxton back at the line. Now the Sonic Blockbuster headed your way later tonight. Number 9 Kansas, 8th-ranked Kentucky, live from Rupp Arena, 6 o'clock tip over on ESPN and also the ESPN app. It'll be a lot of fun as we continue the SEC Big 12 Challenge presented by Continental Tire. And Claxton continues his outstanding work. 17.7 boards for 33 in the red and black.
How about his upside in the world of basketball, right? I mean, it's been fun.
15 in the second half for Claxton.
Fun to watch him in person.
And to your point, only a sophomore, so his best days still ahead of him.
Oh, yeah, way ahead.
We'll send you out to Norman, Oklahoma for Vanderbilt and the Sooners when we're done here in Athens. Febres, catch and shoot. Controlled by Crump, shot clock is off. And one more foul by Hayes. That'll be it for him. Rayshawn Hammonds with that left shoulder iced down. He injured that earlier in this half, came back on the floor before fouling out. Good start for the Big 12, the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Dogs will slice into that advantage. Crump got the start. He's rewarded as head coach Tom Crean with 21. Just 4 off his career high.
He was the guy in the first half that initially kept Georgia close. Texas made off to a good start. Crump was, he was the one against the zones that just started busting him from deep.
Shot clock is off. Final possession for Texas. Ramey off the mark. And 2.2 left. Tom Crean can sense it. An emotional week concludes for Georgia's first-year head coach. And the Big 12 falls to the SEC on the road. Up next, Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. So long from Athens, Georgia.
On a steamy Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Hot day, right? Mm-hmm. That's what a real fan looks like. We're bad fans.
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Bulldogs 98-88 the final score here in the classic city of Athens, Georgia. John Sundvold, Roy Philpott, an impressive performance for the Dogs. They needed a win, they got a win, and it was Nick Claxton doing his job.
You know, he did his job. Everybody was contributed. Now, too many turnovers, but we thought if they play at home, you get away with some of that. Nicholas Claxton, especially second half, was outstanding. On the defensive end, a couple steals, a couple blocks, and offensively, he trailed plays, he made dunks, he made threes, 18.7 rebounds, and he was the emotional leader in the last 10 minutes of this game. And I thought that was as important as anything that he did all afternoon.
It's been a tough road to hoe for Georgia and Tom Crean year one. Losses against Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU. Some great teams from the SEC. But this win, they're now 10-9 overall. What does it mean moving forward for the Dogs?
Just gives them more energy. He said today, we just want to stay positive in year one. His players believe in him. They're an entertaining team to watch. We'll see if this helps.
10-9 overall after the 10-point win against Texas in the SEC Big 12 Challenge presented by Continental Tire.